The United States is just one small incident away from life being thrown back about 125 years. This is SkyWatchTV for Thursday, March 31st, 2016. I'm Derek Gilbert. A little different today because we have a guest in studio who is the writer and producer of a new film opening May 13th called AmeriGEDDON. Watch this.
The reason I'm here today is to encourage the U.S. Congress to take action to protect our country from its most imminent threat. Electricity would cease, the internet would go down, and the banking system.
The smokescreen of national security used by government at every level.
A strong America is the only thing standing in the way. Country only needs a little chaos.
We have a fog that has descended on our entire nation.
Hello, Mr. President. Now is the time.
The average American family only has 3 days of food.
We need to talk face to face. This is important.
Sir, what's the mission? Disarm the population and restore order.
Do you have any weapons inside your home or on your person?
You had to give the president power to arrest any American by simply accusing them of terrorism.
The vanity of nationalism will quickly fade. These are but the birth pangs of a new world order.
I'm just so afraid of the world that you're gonna have to grow up in.
This is a time, man, woman, young or old, when folks run and hide, or they pull up their bootstraps and they fight.
When you sell your soul, it's a one-time thing. There's no going back.
AmeriGEDDON opens May 13th in theaters across the country, and joining us in studio is the producer, writer, and gentleman you'll recognize from the trailer, Gary Heavin. Gary, welcome.
Thank you, Derek.
This is kind of a scary scenario that you lay out in AmeriGEDDON. What is it about this particular phenomenon, this electromagnetic pulse, that led you to write the film?
You know, the byline of the movie is a true story that hasn't happened yet.
Huh.
A few years ago, the U.S. Congress did 2 studies on the risk of an electromagnetic pulse attack in our country. And the Congress determined that it's the greatest threat to our nation. Now, you think they would do something about it, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Okay, nothing. And for people that may not know what an EMP is, an enemy of this country can detonate an electromagnetic, a nuclear device that sends out gamma rays from a high altitude over our country. And that energy destroys all electronics, among them the electric grid. So suddenly, all across America, there's no electricity. And it's not something that's going to be rebuilt because the transformers or take years to order. They're made out of the country. Mm-hmm. We would literally be in the 1800s from one moment to the next. And with no electricity, you have no water, you have no refrigeration, you have no fuel, and you have no bank. And so imagine our country without any of these resources and the chaos that we would have. And so 2 congressional studies have determined that this is the greatest risk we face, and nothing's been done about it. So I felt that I was led to warn the American people about the risk that we face every day.
Now, some of us may not have been able to, just in the span of a couple of minutes here, process through the implications of being without phone, internet, refrigeration, transportation. Yeah. What does this mean in terms of human life?
Well, the average American family has 3 days of food. So within 3 days, most Americans have nothing to eat. The grocery stores, and you see this with Hurricane Sandy, for example, the grocery store shelves last just a few hours. Mm-hmm. Food is delivered just in time today. So no food. Water is pumped by electricity.
Right.
No water coming out of your tap. And there's no water at the stores any longer. Your cars, most of them will quit working because they have electronic ignitions. So your car won't go anywhere. And of course, we run our banks via the internet now.
Right.
And so the banking system would shut down. And if you didn't have any money in your possession, you wouldn't have access to money. And even things like medicines. Certain medicines require cooling and they would be sold instantly. They would not be replenished. And even people with pacemakers, very likely the pacemaker would stop due to an electromagnetic pulse. Even aircraft. At any given moment, there's 3,000 commercial aircraft in the skies across America, and they would literally fall. And I'm a jet pilot. I can tell you, they would literally fall out of the sky.
Cars, since the last 30 years, are so full of electronics that suddenly we wouldn't be able to transport, be able to move cars, trucks. The government's apparent desire to keep us dependent on the government by restricting our ability to protect ourselves, the right to bear arms, by discouraging private production of food through regulation, the USDA. How is this going to impact us? I mean, how prepared are is the American public in general to make a quick transition from an internet-dependent lifestyle to one that looks like the lives our great-great-grandparents lived?
Well, the Congress, in their study, made the determination that within 12 months, 90% of Americans would be dead. That's how unprepared we are. You know, the movie deals with several themes. One of them is when chaos happens and martial law is declared, they will take our weapons. They want us completely dependent upon the government. And so we deal with the theme of the Second Amendment in the movie quite well. You know, the UN has already signed a treaty with John Kerry, illegally by the way, that says that they can come in an emergency and maintain order with foreign troops in this country. And they're in our soil right now. They also can take away our weapons, according to the UN treaty that John Kerry has illegally signed. And you know, what does this mean for the American people? Because I realize a lot of people that are listening to this are just blown away by this. It's overwhelming. Yeah. And I got to tell you, it may be overwhelming, but it is reality. And it doesn't take a lot to prepare. You know, everyone should have a few months of dried goods in their home to live on if you need to. It's not very expensive. They should have an alternative source of water. They should have cash so they could pay their bills for a while. And they should have the ability to defend themselves. And they should stand for the Second Amendment and the right we have as free people to be able to protect ourselves and our families. You know, and what people have to understand is that there is a government in power today in this country that is disarming us. You know, you hear about Obama talking about it every day. They are creating chaos by opening the borders. Unvetted Syrian refugees, a certain percentage of them are radicalized. A thoughtful person would stand up and said, you know what, not in my country. This is preposterous. And so people need to, as ugly as it is, they need to taste the bitterness and prepare for it. And I tell you what, it's not that it's an ugly, awful thing entirely. For those of us that are thoughtful about it and have made some preparation, it's going to be less bad than it is for those that are uncomfortable with having to think about this.
This is a problem that goes back a long way. The government wanting to keep us dependent upon the government. It's bipartisan. We could actually say that the government in Washington, D.C. is a bifactional ruling party. Just looks like two different parties that are competing with one another.
Yeah.
Given the unreadiness of most of us here to deal with a situation like described in the movie AmeriGEDDON, what do you hope viewers take away from watching the film?
I hope they take away a few things. Number one is that they realize that their government does not have their best interest at heart. Government's about power. It's about extracting resources. And as you mentioned, it's both sides of the aisle. You know, Washington is a criminal cabal. You know, Hillary Clinton, who's a leading contender for president, is a one-woman crime wave. And somehow she's a contender for president of this country. The other side of the aisle is not much better. So the government's not your friend. You know, the old joke, I'm from the government, I'm here to help you. Right? I need to wake up and realize that. The problem with that is that you then must be responsible for yourself. And guess what? Life's tough. I love what John Wayne said. Life's tough. Life's hard. It's even harder when you're stupid.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, you need to wake up and take responsibility for yourself. Mm-hmm. And our movie kind of demonstrates someone who does that. Someone who sees it coming, fights for freedom, but prepares. You know, it's kind of the story of running and praying. You know, you don't stop and pray. Mm-hmm. And there's a Second Amendment thing. People need to understand that the ability to defend yourself is crucial to every government in history that's created genocide on their people. Disarm them first. And they're trying to do that. It's in the news every day where Obama's talking about his goals to take away our weapons. So those are the times we live in. And as uncomfortable as it may be, a responsible person deals with reality as it is, not as they want it to be. In the preparation and sharing it with your friends. In fact, our movie's more of a movement. We invite people to come see AmeriGEDDON May 13th. To find the theater near you, go to AmeriGEDDONthemovie.com. And it lists the theaters it'll be playing at. And bring your friends and your family, particularly those people that kind of think you're a conspiracy nut.
Yeah.
This will entertain them. It demonstrates the story of reality and what's going on there, that your government's not your friend. You've got to protect yourself. And you have to prepare if you're going to protect your family. And
again, the listings of movie theaters where this will be shown beginning May 13th at
AmeriGEDDONthemovie.com.
All right. Gary Heavin is the writer-producer and one of the stars of the film AmeriGEDDON. Go watch it, and again, prepare to have your paradigm shifted. We thank you for watching as we keep watch. I'm Derek Gilbert, and this is SkyWatch TV.
From the time she was little, Nita dreamed of horses. Every childhood fantasy rode on the back of a heroic white steed, coming to save the day.
I don't know how long I've had this love in my heart for horses. It's just always been there. And when we were little girls, my sister and I would play all day long. I was always the white horse and she was always the little pink pig.
Let's pretend Lightning and Rosie can fly.
But everything changed in a heartbeat. On December 9th, 1971, a tragic car accident claimed the life of my dad and my best friend and my little sister. And I wondered after that if there was anything left to believe in.
Move aside, let the ambulance through. Please move aside.
As a child of 13, I felt like I had lost practically everything. And I wondered, is this it? I mean, where do I go from here? I could not have imagined back then how God could use horses, of all things, to restore my faith and vision for the future.
Starting April 19th, get your copy of Nita Horn's inspirational new book, No Fences, and learn for the first time her amazing story of loss, survival, determination, and healing. how the vision and love God gave her for these beautiful and majestic animals eventually led to the 150-acre Whispering Ponies Ranch, a general retreat facility, as well as a premier training location that specializes in using and gifting therapeutic animals to benefit the herding. Other care facilities, schools, and ministries across the nation.
When God puts something in your heart, it's there for a lifetime.